Greetings, Dr. Mark Winton here, and in this video, I'd like to talk about virtual violentization by AI chatbot companions. First, I would ask, did any of you predict what would be going on with AI chatbot companions and the possibility that this technology could encourage criminal behavior? I haven't made any videos in a while because I've been trying to wrap my head around all of this, and by no means am I an expert. This is so new. It seems like only in the last 2 years this has just increased at such a rapid pace. We're trying to figure it out. Certainly in the educational field, the academic field, we're trying to, in terms of teaching and research, and I'm reading materials, applying theories, trying to figure it all out and not really doing a good job because it's so new and I'm not sure where it's going. But here I ask the question, how do people become violent through exposure, either to other online violent people or groups or artificial intelligence powered chatbots, also referred to as chatbot companions? And there are some cases. There's a case in England of a young man who was basically encouraged by a chatbot to carry out an assassination. Fortunately, he was arrested. So I went back to my favorite theory, Lonnie Athens' violentization theory, with the 5 stages. If any of you have listened to my YouTube videos or taken courses with me, you've heard violentization theory, most likely, probably in every single course for the most part. So we're wondering, how do individuals and groups become violent through interaction? And this theory works really well when you look at real live people interacting. But what about if you're looking at AI chatbots that encourage or generate violent behavior? So the first thing I wanted to do was to come up with, using Lonnie Athens' 5 stages from violentization theory, questions researchers or clinicians, mental health counselors, for example, or psychologists, might ask in interviews with individuals who have been influenced by the AI chatbot companions. So let me go through those quickly, and of course I'll let you evaluate how you would use this, if you would use this. So the first stage is brutalization, and this is where a person is taught how to use violent behavior by observing others. And this is all out, again, Lonnie Athens' violentization theory work. So a violent script is created and delivered and reinforced by the chatbot. So indicators of this stage would be: the chatbot describes threats that the individual could be victimized. The chatbot presents cases of violence. The chatbot develops a mentor relationship with the person, and the chatbot tells the individual stories of alleged violence against their peers and family. So that's the first stage, brutalization. The second stage is defiance, and that is where a belief system is depicted that supports violent behavior. And in this particular case, chatbots provide information to justify the use of violence. Some of the indicators that I've come up with in this stage would include: the chatbot identifies a specific individual or group as an appropriate target for violence. The chatbot presents violence as an alternative to address the constructed threats to individuals or their group. And the chatbot convinces the individual to use violence in the future. And the chatbot presents a belief system that violence must be carried out for the benefit of the group. So this is defiance. And you can see that violent socialization process intensifying here. The third stage, violent dominance engagements, is where the person carries out violent behaviors. And indicators of this stage would be the chatbot directs the individual to carry out a specific violent act, or the chatbot makes threats against the individual if they don't carry out violent behaviors, and the individual therefore engages in violence to test out the results, that the violent behavior that was encouraged by the chatbot, and the chatbot rewards the person for engaging in violent behavior through supportive statements. The fourth stage, virulency, is where the person defines themselves as violent and dangerous. And this stage would include, for example, the chatbot continuing to reinforce the individual's violent self-image. The individual now defines themselves as a violent person. The individual uses violence to demonstrate that they have power and control over the victims, and the individual uses violence to humiliate the victim. So now you have a violent and dangerous person carrying out violent acts. The final stage, or the fifth stage, the violent predation stage, describes, according to Lonnie Athens, where the subject's violence becomes completely unbound, exceeding the other limits of humanity. And that's a quote from Lonnie Athens' 2015 work. This stage includes such acts as torture, mass murder, sex trafficking, and slavery, reinforced and encouraged by a chatbot. I'd also like to mention that Lonnie Athens talked about a sounding board that people use to make sense of themselves, and he called this the phantom community. And so if we were to apply this to cases of AI-powered chatbots, the phantom community would be the voice of the chatbot that directs, encourages, and supports violence toward the constructed enemy. So the phantom community changes the self-image and encourages a different, different types of behavior. To sum up and conclude, because I didn't want to make this too lengthy, mental health and criminal justice professionals will increasingly need to address their clients' chatbot companions. And violentization theory, I believe, can be used to understand the process of how people may be socialized through the virtual environment to engage in violence by chatbot companions powered by increasingly sophisticated artificial intelligence. And group chatbots should be addressed as well. I mean, people can have multiple chatbots. And additional research is rapidly needed, not only to understand this phenomena, but to create interventions to prevent violent behavior. And then in looking at the future, what will the next generation of AI chatbots look like? Some of the ideas I tried to pull together when I looked into this, that of course would require further research as well, but trying to put this all together, I looked at areas of chatbot companions and terrorism, intimate relationships, therapy, research assistants, co-authors, marketing partners, political consultants, healthcare providers, and teachers. So it seems like everyone I run into is using AI or talking about AI, or some talking about the advantages, some talking about the disadvantages. I run into people and ask them what they think about it, and I get some interesting responses ranging from, wow, this is great. I can make a special recipe requiring special ingredients that taste good. Or on the other side, this is the downfall of society, that things are going to go really in a bad way, and others in between. So you make the predictions, you project what's going to happen. I ask you to come along on this journey with me to try to make sense and understand what I'm still basically just beginning to learn about. Thank you.